Get this down. Hello, we're just being free and being real today for our sobriety circle. This is a circle that I've held before, and I'm holding the circle again, and we'll continue to do so every Tuesday at this time. So please tune in. We'll be here every week with new guests each time. And we're just talking about our journey to sobriety. And we all have a very personal journey. It's a very real and raw experience for us to go through. And it's something that a lot of people don't come out and talk about. A lot of people certainly are not openly talking about it on social media. We see a lot more stories and posts of people partying and going out and drinking. And, I think it's time. It's time for us to come together and create a community and a culture of celebrating our sobriety and celebrating just the strength that it really takes to go through this process. Kia and I have both been on this process. It is a lifelong process. There's so many different layers to the onion of addiction. And we've both had experiences with different substances and chemicals that many people use. There's some pretty big issues right now with people in active addiction. I work pretty closely with the houseless community and with an organization that is working really closely with those communities and with mental health and with addiction and how to help get services to people. It's a time that we live in. There's a lot of hard things going on. And we're just here to raise the vibration. We're just here to raise the frequency of our communities and our cultures and our families with this awareness of what can happen for you and the possibilities when you become sober and you're clearing yourself and cleansing yourself and detoxing yourself. And I say yourself, but the strength that it takes to come out of active addiction is, I see it as like a threefold thing. You've got your mental strength that you need. There's a lot of tools that we've both gained through the communities that we're in to really have some self-development work, to have some self-realization work, looking really deeply at who we are and what are our self-limiting beliefs and what are the things that pull us out of alignment, and how do you create some structures and some defenses for yourself in today's world. And raising the vibration of your life is one of those really important pieces that can really affect the way that you experience your mentality and the way that you perceive the world. And then, of course, the way that the world perceives you. The second area is your physical strength. And we've both been in this lifestyle of consuming really pure, organic, live dehydrated superfoods with some different herbs and roots and prebiotics, probiotics, a little humic and fulvic acid. We're really cleansing and clearing our physical body as well as our mental space. And for me, this clearing of the physical body in the way that I was eating and all the different things that I was allowing in my body is what was my foot in the door to this pathway, out of the maze and into this new existence that I'm living in now, where, every moment is a precious, infinitesimal number of possibilities in your life. And when you take the time and you take the self-care and you take, the mental space to really be deliberate with what you're choosing each day, what you expose yourself to, the things that you decide to think about, even being able to make the decision to consider what you're going to think about and whether the thoughts you're having are going to be something you hold on to or let go of. These are things that we are really able to embrace through this third aspect of attaining sobriety, which is a community network. Just as we are reprogramming our neural nets in our body and how we think and how our muscles and our organs and how our cells are functioning through the foods that we're eating, we're also developing and learning how to engage in new relationships with people that we admire, people that are on the same pathway as us, people who are really taking this life to heart and really taking responsibility and accountability for how we're showing up in the world and how we're affecting our loved ones and how we're affecting the planet. Our company is also very eco-conscious. We have the live dehydrated foods, and they're all organic and grown in regenerative soil and come in compostable packaging. And so when you live your life with this kind of integrity, there's a huge weight that is just lifted off your shoulders because you come to a place from a place of living in this sort of like shameful sort of fear based way. And you arrive in a place of knowing that you are taking action every day to release the connection that you have to bearing that weight, because you're lifting up the world and you're lifting up people by lifting up yourself. And it doesn't even feel like you're lifting anything. It's more like floating in a way, because it's just like being released. And it's such a good feeling. And I've shared my sobriety story on here many times. We have about 20 minutes left. So I'm going to do a quick share, and then Kia's going to share. And her new friend that just came into our circle is also going to come on and share. And I just want to take a moment to really honor the bravery that it takes to come out about your journey from the dark night of the soul and expose yourself, and to stand, I mean, essentially naked in the face of a world that can feel so judgmental and so harsh. And I really honor your bravery. And I see that Theresa is coming in. So I'm just going to let her in the room in time for you to share and start your story. So coming in with us, guys, is Theresa. She's amazing. She's friends with parrots and other animals. And she has recently joined our community and our circle. And this is her first time on the Sobriety Circle Zoom as well. So thank you for being here, Theresa. Kia is about to share her story, and then we'll let you share your story as well. I'm going to real quick share my story, and then we'll kind of go around the circle. So my name is Barbara, and I am an alcoholic, and I am a drug addict, and I am in recovery. And I am also fully embracing just this pathway and this new way of well-being. But I've been through a lot of things in my life, and lots of early childhood trauma that I dealt with, that it really even took me a long time in my life to realize that I had sitting there back in my shadow, that to me was just normal experience of childhood life and preteen life. I dealt with some molestation, and I dealt with rape pretty young, and pregnancy and abortion due to that pregnancy and rape. And that is what really sent me into kind of like ignited this active addiction in my life, because it was not what I expected out of life, but just kind of was what it was. And I first, it was weed, and I was smoking weed all the time. I see that as plant medicine. A lot of people actually are able to use marijuana as a way to alleviate some of their other addictions. And I do want to honor that. But that very quickly turned to alcohol and cocaine and psychedelics and ecstasy. I got really bad with cocaine. I was actually shooting cocaine in my arm. And when I stopped doing that, I ended up with a boyfriend that was a meth dealer, and I was doing meth for about a year. And I got pulled out of that scenario when my dad sat me down and said, look, you're either going to go to rehab or you're going to go take care of your mom. She has to have a kidney transplant, and she's going to be on dialysis. And so, of course, I went to take care of my mom, who was living in Nashville, Tennessee at the time. And I did, and I came off of methamphetamines, and I lived in my mother's home. Um, I talk a lot about how I took care of my mom during that time, but I realize now that I've gotten a little bit older how much she was still taking care of me, because I really wrecked. I was still just wrecking my life. And I did the tasks that I needed to do to help her. But I also was gone a lot. I would take her car and go party. I remember coming home one night and she was in a diabetic coma. She was out. She had totally lost like consciousness. And I was fucked up. And I had been out partying all night. And I gave her some sugar and I brought her back too. And she was okay. Thank the Lord, because it's really easy to make mistakes when you're in that kind of state of mind. Um, but that was a huge wake up call. And she had her kidney transplant and she began to find wellness, at which point I stepped further out of my active addiction to some of the things I was still using, like psychedelics and ecstasy. And I went back to school and I completed my degree in dance and I got married and I had kids. But after I had my kids and was done breastfeeding, I started drinking again and I started smoking more weed again. And that was the case up until I found these superfoods. And finding this nutrition system has allowed me to be so deeply nourished and satiated, that it calmed down with the gut repair. It calmed down my mental unrest, and my anxiety went down and my depression decreased. And I've found a place of balance that I haven't had since I was a preteen. And that feeling, ooh, once you have it and you get a grip back on your ability to really love yourself and embrace your life again, it is really priceless. And so we're here to share it with others. I know that Kia and Theresa both are just sharing this with everybody they know, because it's profound, and they can speak a little bit to it as well. So Kia, I'd love for you to share with us your story. This is the first time that she has been sharing her story like this live, and it takes a lot of bravery and a lot of guts, but I know that she's a strong woman, and I know how much it's helped me to share my story. So on that note, I'll just let her take it away and let you see.
Thank you so much, Barbara. I have been looking forward to connecting with you more since I've joined Purium, because I've heard your story and I relate with you so much. All the way from like way back, to childhood things, and starting young, starting with weed and quickly progressing to other things. And so my addiction, I started very young. And then once I had kids, my two oldest, I went through a period when they were young that I was clean for a while. And I wasn't really doing bad, like hard drugs before them. I got pregnant with them. It was after their dad got sentenced to prison for the rest of their life. That's what really put me into a downward spiral. Yes. Those like when they were like 5 and 7 is when I was introduced to opiates. So that's that quickly progressed to heroin, meth, all those things. And I was, IV user. So that went on for a really long time until I went to rehab. And that was in 2015. So I've been clean from street drugs for 8 years. But I had to go on to a medication for my addiction that I am still coming off of. So that's like really a big thing for me right now. So like my recovery story isn't like really over yet.
I just want to take a moment, Kia, because this is the part of the journey Okay. This is the part of the journey where you get to feel feelings that you have not felt for years, that are resurfacing, that are buried so deep down inside of yourself. And when we reopen these pathways, when we reopen these neural nets, and we allow the hormonal flow of our feelings are crystallized hormones. That's what produces our feelings. And so when those hormones get back flowing in the way that they're supposed to, just like when we do a cleanse or a detox, and it's like you're taking like the biggest shit on earth again for the first time in like however long you've been building up all the shit. But like when the hormone paths are flowing again, you are able to release the shit, the emotional shit. And it is very real and it's very visceral. And I specifically remember a moment where I broke down in tears and allowed myself to be grateful that I was able to feel again. And I was grateful for my sadness for the first time in so long. And it really like gives me goosebumps and it's so beautiful. And I just embrace your heart. And I just encourage you to just allow yourself those moments. You know, it's easy to hold back. It's easy for us that have held back so many times for so many years to hold it back. And when you let it out, it just remember it is a clearing, you know, and I'll let you take back over your story. I just wanted to say that because it's such an important moment to
I
define.
appreciate that so much, Barbara. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's just, also a very controversial thing for me to share that because some people don't see that as me still, being clean because I am prescribed something that I am still having to wean off of,
No
but
shame in that. No shame in that at all. You know, in fact, a lot of people don't realize that for some people, if you've been on some sort of chemical for so long, it's literally impossible to come off of it without some sort of a transition, you know? And when you know that it can be a transition for you and you're in that work, as far as I'm concerned, you are on the path, you are on your way. Like I see you there. I see you in the completion of this. I really do.
thank you so much. And this, I truly feel like this nutrition that brings me to this, that since I've began this nutrition, I've been lowering my dose. I was at a year ago, 160 milligrams a day, and now I'm at 55. So in the beginning, before this nutrition, every time I would lower my dose, it was so hard for like a week or two straight, to get used to it. And with the nutrition, I don't have like the restlessness whenever I lower my dose as much. My mental state is better. I don't, I can just, I feel like this nutrition is really going to be a big part of me being successful and getting my body in the state to completely be able to come off of this and handle it, because I'm going to be alkalized and nourishing my body and preparing my body to completely be done. And that's why this nutrition plays a part in my journey on so many levels.
It's an amazing support. And I think it's really responsible of you that you are working with your doctor to go through the process of achieving sobriety in your case, you know, because I think that there's a role for Western medicine to play. My dad is a research psychopharmacologist. And so he researches the effects of drugs and alcohol in the brain. And so I've gotten a lot of education just passed to me from him about how delicate these systems are. And you know, everybody has a different chemical balance. You know, our chemical makeup is as unique, if not more unique than our fingerprint. You know, it's coming from our DNA. It's also coming from what we're putting in our body. And it's very intricate. And a lot of people self-medicate for a long time. And thank goodness that we have, research psychopharmacologists who can help us find this middle path to get from A to B. And thank God we have a company like Purium that has these pure and premium foods and this gut repair to meet that Western medicine with the philosophies and the concepts of like indigenous practices and Eastern medicine, and then adds to that, data from the current research with how we're using our nutrition and our gut repair. And it's really beautiful that you're taking the responsibility to do it in that really mindful way, because I think that that's really going to help you achieve success. So
Thank you.
congratulations. I'm
Thank
really
you.
happy for you. And
Thanks
I
so
do
much.
want to respect everyone's time. I would love for Theresa to get an opportunity to share for a little bit about her recovery story as well. Thank you, Kia.
Hi, ladies. So good to be here with you, especially on this path that we are now on. My addiction started real young when I used to get beer for my dad. I'd help him out and open it for him before I got to him. I started smoking pot when I was like 14, and by 17, 18, I was snorting lines of coke, and I had done meth and ecstasy and acid and shrooms and pretty much everything. And I went through a bunch of ups and downs with all of that. Basically, I stayed in addiction for decades. I My first terrible addiction was crack cocaine. After that, I started using Molly and meth, but that got me off the crack. So I thought that was good. I went from that to I decided, it was time to reconnect with some family and things, and I became a professional addict. I began to be able to function very, very well on meth every single day. I would eat it every morning, swallow rocks of it, and I could eat on it, I could sleep on it, and nobody would probably ever walk by me and think that I was a about 6-7 year meth addict. I'm kind of ashamed to say that I built my business I was using at the time. I've been clean now for November will be 2 years since I gave up meth. And I did it and was like real in shock over the person I was getting to know, and it is very, very true about feeling feelings again is not easy. It is not for the weak. Learning to feel things again is very hard. And I think sometimes we go through huge emotional, roller coasters with family members or even close friends to us because, a lot of people might not be aware of the fact that, I was fucking numb for decades, you know what I mean? And now, sometimes whenever I do have an altercation with somebody, I tell them straight the fuck up. I'm like, hey, I'm just learning how to fucking feel again. And I'm sorry. And it's sometimes too much. And I'm sorry, I'm not perfect, but it's fucking hard sometimes to feel all this stuff.
Exactly. It's freaking difficult. And I think it speaks
Terrible.
to like all the cleansing and the clearing that we do in our bodies, that we're having to do in our minds. Like you said, it's like in our social circle. So like people don't even realize that emotionally you are the age. This is what it feels like to me anyhow. You are the age that you were when you started numbing out. That's where you're at now. So for some of us, that is like, 12 to 15 years old, like that,
Right.
that realm right there. And when you think about a preteen and what their emotions and what their hormones are like, I mean, it's not exactly the same because of course you have the life experience and you have, that, but it is good to inform people. Like it's really good to let people know what's going on with you. Look, I just quit doing this. I just quit doing that. It's really, difficult for me in this, and that scenario. Be
Yeah.
patient with me, like learning how to rework your connections with people and clearing those pathways out becomes really important. Yep.
And you become addicted to bettering yourself.
Mhm.
And that becomes the new addiction. And that's where we are today, is like, I'm so addicted to putting good stuff in my body now, because for so long I did not. And now I'm obsessed with knowing what's going in my mouth and knowing where the food's coming from. I mean, I once killed a cactus, but now I'm growing all kinds of stuff because I wanted to learn how to grow my own food. And then that really has helped me a bunch. And Purium has too, because like my skin is glowing, and that's really why I got on Purium, is because my skin had not yet still cleared up from the drugs, and it was driving me nuts. And this
Yeah,
Purium,
the integumentary system, and it's not only on that, your skin is on the outside of your body, but what I learned when I took anatomy and physiology is that your skin is also the inner covering of your body. So all the insides of the pathways of your organs and like up into your lungs and into your heart and into your digestive tract, that's also like the epithelial layer of skin. And so, yeah, when you think about what you ingest in the food and then all the chemicals and the binders and the fillers and the pesticides and the herbicides, all of that is on the inside of you, including your brain, because a lot of this stuff crosses the blood-brain barrier and into your nervous system. All of that, it spreads into the entire inside of your body. And the reason why your skin, I mean, I had like cystic acne, like on my shoulders and on my face, and I've dealt with scarring from that for a while. I went and like got some facials at some point, which really like helped. But this food, like what it did to my skin. And then I think about the inside of my body and how that was also likely going on the inside of your body. And you have the ulcers, like I was having blood in my poop, like because you
yeah,
stop listening to your body, and it is, I thought it was never going to go away. I remember coming out of addiction and being like, okay, well, I fucked myself up for life. Like this is never going to get any better. And
yeah,
that's,
that's
oh,
I
the
had the
gift
same
of
thought.
the self-help and the self-healing. It's like, oh, thank goodness, like what's
Oh,
possible.
thank God. It's like, oh my God, the gratitude is just overwhelming these days. It's incredible.
Well, guys, I so appreciate you coming on with me today to just be like totally real and raw. And again, I just honor you. I respect you. And it's like unsung hero status. Like not all heroes wear capes, you know what I mean? And it's people like you and me that are willing to share our story, that are willing to talk to people about what we've been through and show that example and be that example of recovery and what's possible. And it's a process. We're all in a different place with it, but it's like not about being perfect. It's not about perfection. It's about just getting on the path and just putting one foot in front of the other. And when you fall down, you get back up on the fucking horse, cape or no cape, and you be the change that you wish to see in the world. And that's what we're here to do. So if Kia is showing you this video, or if Theresa is showing you this video, it's because we would love to help you set foot on this path. We would love to guide you and show you some of the tools that we've used to come through and to get to a point of recovery. It's an eternal recovery. You're never there. You're always going. And after it's, the drug addictions or the alcohol addictions, it's the food addictions, and then emotional addictions to people. And, humans are instinctually driven to crave things, to desire things. And so please reach out to us. We would love to give you some tools and help you come to a place of feeling safer in your body and feeling stronger about hacking your mainframe and just breaking out the box. So thank you for being here, Kia and Theresa. So much love. And
Thank you.
Facebook world, we will see you next time.
sister.
All right.
Thank you so
so much, Barbara, for holding the space for
welcome.
us.
Yeah,
my
you're so welcome.
Thank
I'm
you so
so
much, Teresa. I'm so glad you were able to come, with our
Yes.
little
I
this
hopped
time.
out quick.